I started photography with zero help, and that led me to make a lot of mistakes. I'm here to help you avoid those mistakes while still understand why they matter and what lessons to draw from them. Here's 5 easy photography mistakes and some tips to avoid them. Let's go. The most common mistake to make as a photographer, in my opinion, is simply not taking the shot at all. We've all been there. We've all been on the street seeing the perfect shot just waiting to be taken, except we feel just a little too conspicuous, a little too shy. It feels pretty bad. Yeah. Missing a shot and regretting it afterwards, that 100% feels worse. Just sitting there in your room looking at your computer at all the files that you've taken off, thinking of that one single shot that you could have taken, you could have seen, you could have had, and it's gone. A photographer is someone who takes photos and loves doing it. If you want to be a successful photographer, and by success I mean taking photos that you are happy with, you need to get past that barrier of feeling weird about bringing out your camera in front of other people. Some tips to sort of get past that. For me, it's never leaving your camera in your bag. Take the camera out, put it around your neck, put it around your wrist if you have a wrist strap, just get it out. That's the best way to avoid that, because we want to minimize the amount of time between seeing the shot and taking the shot. I took this piece of advice from a James Popsis video. I'm going to recommend his channel right here. He's an excellent resource. He's probably better at this than me. Also, investing in a good, comfortable strap is very important. You don't have to spend tons of money on a strap. I went into like a Leica store in San Francisco and they had like this $90 strap. I did not buy it, but I really did want to, because then I could say I could have bought something from Leica. No, that's not absolutely necessary. You know, I got this strap super cheap. I think it was like maximum 15 bucks, 20 bucks. I don't know. You want to be comfortable holding your camera. What you want to use is not the same as what you need to use. You need to focus on the essentials first. If you only have one camera lens combo, that actually is a really good thing for beginners because it really keeps it simple. I made the mistake of buying a few lenses for each body that I got when I first started out with it. And while that was okay for certain situations, what I found is that I felt a responsibility to justify that purchase by taking out the lens even when I didn't really want to use it in the first place. When I was beginning, I didn't really want to shoot wide angle at all. The first lens I had originally purchased was actually this 16mm from my Sony camera. At the time, I felt a little bit insecure about how many lenses I had for that system. I really only had the kit lens for it, so I had bought this 16mm and I hated it. I actually completely hated it. I had not considered what was important to me as a photographer. At the time, it was actually the ability to get a little bit closer via focal length than anything else. Yes, there was more pocket ability with this small little pancake lens, but I wasn't happy with any of the shots I was getting with it anyway. It's very important to be very critical about what you're putting in your bag, because weight saved in your bag directly correlates to time spent taking photos. Now, when it comes to buying that first camera, all I can really say is this: if you don't know exactly what you want to be using that camera for, and you're going to be using it for all kinds of situations, I would err on the side of portability, pocketability, and just getting something more compact. Being able to take your camera everywhere is a great way of actually figuring out what you like to take pictures of, because it's gonna be with you all the time. You can always just grab your bag, grab it out, and just quickly snap a shot. Before we move on to the next one, by the way, I just wanted to say, if you're enjoying this video, please drop me a subscribe. I'm working really hard to get to 1,000, probably next year, but you know, it's not happening, it's happening. But thank you very much. Let's keep going. If you don't know exactly how to edit and tweak the image that you really like, I would just recommend emphasizing what you like about the image in the first place. Don't be afraid to use presets as well. What I find is that I use lots of presets to sort of gauge how really broad edits can affect my image, and then I tweak those presets from there to sort of match the exact look that I'm looking for. For me, correctional editing means that you are trying to take away all the perceived flaws in an image. This could be excessive chromatic aberration, maybe a little bit of blur in the background, maybe there's just a little bit too much excessive flaring. All of these things can be repaired in post, while correctional editing is very effective at producing very sterile, clean, professional looking images. It's not very fun when you're just kind of doing it for the love of the game, right? Like, I don't really enjoy repairing Sunstars. I kind of like those. I usually shoot for those. I think it's more interesting to sort of use these flaws to make your images stand out more. Imperfections make an image interesting. Yes, objectively they may not be perfect, but objectively perfect images, in my opinion, suck. They absolutely suck. They're not interesting to look at. They're not something I'm interested in. So, you know, go for those weird images. Try it out. The thing about the rule of thirds is that it's not actually a rule. It's a suggestion. And these kinds of hard rules are really helpful when you're first starting out and understanding how to evaluate images. But what I find is that if you obey them too hard, if you kind of stick to them like they're hard and fast, they're hard laws of physics, you're gonna absolutely make some really boring images that you're not gonna be super happy with. If you think an image is weird despite not following a certain convention, keep it. Keep trying to go for that weirdness, because if you like it, that's all that matters. These are good shots. You should not be throwing them out simply because they don't follow some arbitrary rule that you read online. Keep in mind, as you become more comfortable with breaking these conventions, you will notice that they tend to creep up in your work in more unconventional ways. You're going to see the rule of thirds in ways that you maybe weren't exactly thinking about in your images. And that makes a way better picture, to me at least. My last tip is, it's gotta be the tripod, man. Look, it's the greatest tool a photographer can have besides the camera and the lens and maybe a flash. To prove it, I'm gonna ask you to look at my hand. You see that? No? Let's zoom in. Zoom in even more. That's shake. And a tripod would solve that. You wanna have a longer exposure, but you don't have in-body stabilization or in-lens stabilization. Tripod solves that. You want to take a bunch of really high burst rate photos and then composite them all in together to create a really cool effect. A tripod facilitates that. You want to take a picture of yourself. A tripod solves that. You want to have a makeshift light stand for your portable light that is off camera right now. You know what I'm gonna say, right? A tripod is so infinitely useful that I kind of struggle to illustrate how useful you will find it. Like, I can keep laying out example after example after example, and it's such a simple thing, but it really does facilitate photography. What I would recommend as a beginner photographer is getting one with a ball joint head if you're not going to be taking a lot of video. Get something decently lightweight, something with okay reviews, and if it's nice, maybe it has a little hook on the bottom that you can hang your bag down to weigh it down. If you want to get into video later, you can always swap out the ball joint for something more fluid, and you know, you'll have a good time. That's all it is to it, right? I hope that you guys understand where I'm coming out with this. I want you guys to keep it versatile, yes, but keep it simple. You want to minimize the extra processing that you have to do to facilitate getting an image. Your goal is not to work a camera. Your goal is to take a picture. Not every picture has to be a keeper. Unless you're shooting film, then you're probably gonna feel bad. But even then, you know what I mean. Some days I don't really even get any keepers, and those feel a little bad. But some days I just know keeper after keeper after keeper, and it feels amazing. These are dips. And as we learn to become better at different situations, different environments, that rate hopefully will go up. I'm actually very curious about any tips that you guys would have towards beginner photographers. I hope that this video might become a resource for people who can learn a little bit more and not feel as much fear about getting into this hobby, because it's intimidating, man. It's crazy. So I hope that, you know, maybe you guys can drop a little bit of wisdom in the comments so that other people can see it. It's not just my little stupid tips as well. You know, maybe it can be yours as well. Thank you very much. I hope that you've learned something today. If you have learned something or you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, draw me a subscribe. I work pretty hard on these videos. Drop a video every single Thursday, so, you know, you can subscribe. Maybe you can hit the little bell icon if you want to. It's up to you. But thank you very much.